Here's a great way to make sure that your vocal reverb does not get in the way of your lead vocal. Let's hop right in and get to it. Okay, so today I'm in FL Studio, but let me start off by saying that it does not matter what DAW you're in. All you're gonna need is a reverb plugin and a compressor plugin. So here on the lead vocals reverb channel, you'll see that I have a plate reverb, and on this reverb, I have a 26 millisecond pre-delay time set and a reverb time of 1.6 seconds. Then I have this feeding into a chamber reverb. And on this plugin, I don't have any pre-delay set, but I have a reverb time of 1.6 seconds as well. So let's go ahead and just take a listen to what that sounds like before we add any extra sauce. And just a side note, something that I like to do with my reverbs is apply EQ to kind of roll off the lows and kind of just shape the overall tone of the reverb. So I have this feeding into this EQ plugin right here, and this is the EQ curve that I'm using. Now, I also have this compressor plugin right here turned off for now, and I'll show you what's going on with that after we take a listen to the vocal.
Early morning, the storm is coming. The earth is calm as you lay beside me in this moment shared together. I got no place to be but here with you in this dream as we proceed to leave our past on the horizon.
Okay, so that's sounding pretty good right there, just like that, but I do think that we could take the reverb to the next level. Now, what tends to happen with the reverb is that it sits on top of the lead vocal, and this can take away from the clarity of the lead vocal and muddy things up. Because when you think about reverb, what's really happening is these reflections are occurring directly after the main sound occurs. So for example, if you clap in a stairwell, the clap is what happens first, and then the reverb follows after. But what happens if you clap again while the reverb from the first clap is still ringing out and bouncing off the walls? They're gonna end up clashing, and this is gonna become more apparent the more times that you clap. The reverbs and the claps are gonna start to overlap, and this is kind of what happens when you're singing or rapping lyrics. The reverb is gonna end up sitting on top of the vocal and clashing with the words that are coming next. So a trick that I like to do is use a compressor to duck the reverb whenever the lead vocal is playing. And the way that we're gonna do this is by setting up this compressor in sidechain mode. So essentially you're sidechaining the lead vocal to the compressor on the reverb channel. Now this process is gonna be different depending on what DAW you're in, but in FL Studio, you just wanna make sure that you have the send already set up within the mixer. So you see that I have the lead vocal sent out to the reverb's mixer channel already. Now, when I come over here to the reverb mixer channel and I click on the compressor, what you want to do is come up here to the wrapper settings for the plugin and then select this processing tab right here. And then you want to right click on the stereo aux in and make sure that the lead vocal is set as the stereo aux in, and then you just want to engage it right here and make sure that the red button is lit up. So now that we've done this, the compressor is only going to engage and compress down the reverb whenever the lead vocal is playing. If the lead vocal isn't playing, this compressor is going to disengage and it's not going to compress anything, right? So the only thing that's going to trigger the compressor is the signal that's coming from the lead vocal. So at the end of each line or phrase, if done right, this reverb is going to come up in loudness and ring out and be at full effect. And then when the vocal is playing, the compressor is going to duck down the reverb. And we're not just going to completely silence the reverb, but we're just going to pull it down a bit to make sure that it makes room for the lead vocal. So let's go ahead and dive into the settings that I use on the compressor to create this effect. First off, let's just make sure that we turn the compressor on. And then the first thing you want to do is set a 5:1 ratio. That's typically the ratio that I use for this type of effect. Next, we're just going to make sure that we have a fast attack time set because we want this compressor to instantly start compressing the reverb down whenever it sees any signal coming from the lead vocal. If you have too slow of an attack time set, it's going to take too long to duck the reverb and it's going to end up clashing with the lead vocal still. Now for the release time, we want anywhere from a fast to medium release. So we want to stay somewhere in this ballpark right here. And this is basically controlling how fast the compressor is going to let go. So you want it to sound natural when it's time for the reverb level to come back up and take center stage in those open spots within the song. So in moments when the lead vocal is done, the compressor is going to let go and let that reverb come all the way back up to full level. You really want to make sure that you have the release time set correctly, because if you have it set too slow, it's going to sound like the reverb is slowly making its way back up to full level, and that's going to sound unnatural. Now all you have to do is set the threshold. So what we're going to do is play the vocal, and we're going to bring down the threshold until we're getting around 5 to 10 decibels of compression. And you really just have to use your ears, because you don't want to duck it too much to where the reverb just disappears. You want just enough to create space and to open things up for the vocal.
Early morning, the storm is coming. The earth is calm as you lay beside me in this moment shared together. I got no place to be but here with you in this dream as we proceed to leave our past on the horizon. Early morning, the storm is coming. The earth is calm as you lay beside me in this moment shared together.
Okay, so I think we got it sounding pretty good right there. Let's go ahead and take another listen, and I'm going to bypass the compressor on and off so that way you can hear the difference.
Early morning, the storm is coming. The earth is calm as you lay beside me in this moment shared together. I got no place to be but here with you in this dream as we proceed to leave our past on the horizon.
All right, so when the compressor is turned on, you can kind of hear the vocal take a step forward. The reverb is still there, but it's not the main focus. But then at the end of phrases, the reverb takes off and really fills up that space where there's no vocal. Now, something that you want to avoid is pulling down on this threshold too much to where you basically cause the reverb to completely disappear. So let's play the vocal again and let me show you what that will sound like.
Early morning, the storm is coming. The earth is calm as you lay beside me in this moment shared together.
Okay, so as you heard, with that threshold pulled down too much, the reverb got completely silenced, and then it sounded very unnatural when it was time for the compressor to let go and allowed the reverb to come up in level. So you really have to trust your ears whenever you're pulling that threshold down and determining how much compression you want on the reverb. All right, so use this trick, try it out, and experiment with it. There's obviously so many techniques when it comes to reverbs and effects, so add this one to your arsenal. I know a lot of people will say that you can just use automation and other ways to achieve this effect. That's fine, but for this tutorial, I just wanted to show you a way that I like doing this. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the content. Please consider subscribing to the YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. Leave me a comment, let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next video.